Willkommen zu Eine Stunde mit der neuen Veranstaltungsreihe der Fachgruppe Werbung Wien mit Schwerpunkt Grafikdesign und vor allem eine Gesprächsreihe mit Top-Kreativen dieser Welt. Als erstes haben wir unseren ersten Gast Erik Kessels eingeladen, der jetzt auch am Anfang ein paar Worte einleiten wird, ein bisschen was präsentieren möchte. Und im Anschluss daran erkläre ich dann ein bisschen mehr zur Serie, die wir da abfeiern werden in den nächsten 2 Jahren, was wir uns dabei gedacht haben, was die Zielsetzungen sind, und wünsche schon jetzt eben eine gute Unterhaltung. Und bitte, die Bühne gehört dir.
Okay, danke. Will ich so verstehen? Oder? Oh,
ja.
Okay. Ja, ich spreche Deutsch, aber nicht so gut, aber ich mache es auf Englisch. Okay? Gut. Yeah, good evening everybody. I'd like to talk today about a recent book I made called Failed It. And yeah, this is a book in a way for a lot of people in the creative industry. Has a lot to do with the fact that we nowadays work in a time where yeah, like a lot of the applications and the machines we use and all the technical things we use is made to be very perfect in a way. I mean, the cameras on our phones are close to perfection, 3D printers, computers, they make no mistake. And I think that yeah, these mistakes are very important for creating new ideas, and to start with a perfect thing is maybe not the right way to do it, so the book is gives all kinds of tips about deliberately making a mistake in your head. Of course, everybody makes a mistake daily, on a daily basis, and learns from that, but that's not where this book is about. It's more how you can learn to kind of deliberately fuck up and make something out of that. So I will quickly maybe talk 15, 20 minutes, also a bit about my work. I think one of the things in the book talks about the fact that as a creative you're also a little bit of a clown. You know, you need to be kind of an idiot or behave like an idiot quite often. And I started with this quite early because I worked with my partner Kramer in London for 2 years. And in the office there was not such a good atmosphere at a certain moment, so we thought like, okay, why not rent a chicken suit, both of us, and arrive at the work with in the chicken suit. I mean, I thought it's quite entertaining, and so it looked like this. But the people in the office, yeah, some of them liked it, but there was another part who didn't really like it, and so after a week later, we both got fired because of the chicken suits. So that was the end of it. This is our first company picture in Amsterdam when we started. Also a bit of an idiot, but it's me on the left, by the way. The company is called Kessels Kramer. It started in 1996. And this is our logo. I mean, it's also quite strange when you start your own company to make your own logo, as being also background as a graphic designer. So, but it's still strange to make your own logo. And so we went to this hardware store. We found this beautiful sign and put our name on it, and that's still on our door up to date. We work in an office in Amsterdam, but it's a former church. There's a lot of churches in Amsterdam that are abandoned and empty because nobody goes to church anymore. So, I mean, this church was for sale in the newspaper, and so we bought it. We thought it's nice, one big open space to all work in, and yeah, we worked for 20 years in here already. And it's also good for your parents, my parents, so that I can tell them that I go to church every day, because they are still very Catholic, and so that helps. I think quickly some work, because I can't show everything, of course, tonight on screen, but I think this is very important that, I mean, when you make work and there's quite a lot of people who hate it, or there's a lot of opposition against the work when you make it, it's actually quite a good thing, because I mean, either they hate it or they love it. Both is quite good, because I think like creativity, if it's in the middle, yeah, that's kind of not called creativity in that sense. Some examples, one is quite interesting. we made the theme for the city of Amsterdam. This was a competition between 5 agencies, and we got like the briefing at the city council. And on the way back to the office, which was on the bike 5 minutes, we already came up with this idea, I Amsterdam. It was quite obvious if you saw the brief, and but we thought like maybe it's too obvious, so let's check it. So on the day we checked if that was already existing, which was not the case. So we on the same day we registered it, and it was still available. Was quite an investment to register it, and but 2 weeks later we got the presentation, and there were maybe 20 people in the space. I presented it, and afterwards it was deadly silent. There was no reaction, and yeah. So I asked a woman like, "Is there anything wrong?" And then she said like, "Yeah, it's very embarrassing, but the people that presented before you had exactly the same idea." And it turned out that from the 5 companies, 3 of them had the same idea, differently designed. But and then we said, which something they didn't really like, we said like, yeah, we own it, it's ours. And so they were quite surprised by that. And the funny thing is that now I collect all these rip-offs, which we sadly didn't register. So there's, for instance, Wow Moscow, which almost looks the same, or Only Lyon. And recently I found We Are Ramallah, which is quite similar. And yeah, we work for several national and international clients. This was for the Standard Hotel in America. We did several things, just showing that the hotel was anything but standard. For Diesel we worked about 6 years. Here we gave a lot of tips about how people could stay younger and younger constantly, how they could save themselves. So for instance by drinking urine. And yeah, another company we work for is a foundation run by women on female topics. Also the women in our office, they only work on it. And yeah, this was a campaign because it turns out that women still earn in their working life €300 less than men. So here she's looking for 300,000 euro. This is another simple one for Vitra. It says like the Eames aluminium chair guaranteed to stay in the family. And yeah, the next is a commercial I want to show, because I mean, I worked maybe 25 years in advertising, and I really hate advertising. I mean, to be honest, every day. But this is not something bad, I think. It's quite good when you hate advertising, because then you are also fueled by trying to do things different. Because I think in many cases, and a lot of you will also know that I mean, advertising is very stereotypical. When you see car advertising or underwear or perfume advertising, it's all the same metaphors and the same stereotypes. But in a way it's quite nice it's quite simple to change that. So next was for a film for the radio station called Radio 1 in Holland. And they wanted to do something about the World Cup of soccer. So yeah, we just simply didn't use the same metaphors as you saw a lot on television. Yeah, the animal rights organization didn't really like this. Because they demanded us to make another film to prove that the dog was still alive. So for us it was really nice, you know, like it's great that people tell you something, you have to do this. So we did that. And so the next event for the radio station was the Tour de France. And so we brought the dog and even the owner back into that film. And then we never heard from them anymore. It was deadly silence. Yeah, something very recent we did for Greenpeace. It was during Christmas last year, and this is now also a regular product that they have. We made this product. It's like a box that comes in 3 sizes. and it says like, hooray, you have got nothing, you received nothing as a gift. So this is really like a product. You get this box and you take the card out and you have nothing. So it's like a new way to donate money and also get something back from it, which is nothing. So we also made these nothing shops where it says like buy nothing, and this is really, or like the small box was almost nothing and the bigger one was just nothing, and the biggest said like totally nothing. So it's quite nice to play with. Another thing we did very recently was the International Documentary Festival in Amsterdam. So there are just these, also festivals are doing quite a lot of the same things when like a lot of film metaphors. So we had these kind of fly posters saying grizzly bear hunters are coming to Amsterdam, 9 clickable porn stars, which of course had to do with the films they showed. And a legendary one-legged explosive dismantler was coming to Amsterdam. Julian Assange was even coming there, and thousands of Moroccan Hollywood extras. A pig, a donkey, a pack of wolves, a female serial killer, and a blind robot was also coming to Amsterdam. And this is quite nice to show also that you sometimes can step out of your regular work and make maybe different different objects out of a brief. This was a school that we did a lot of things for, but they asked us that if we could solve their problem of the rubbish they had in their campus, because they had 15,000 people there, and there was a lot of rubbish. So it says on the garbage bin, it says throw away garbage in the garbage bin. How difficult can that be? And then we made it very difficult. You have to really put your arm through it or lift it with 5 people to, it was really. But this was really like, it solved a lot, it solved really the problem, because it's quite clean there now, and kids love it, because if you tell them what to do, that's not good, but if you enhance what they should not do, then that makes it in a way quite nice. There's another hotel we work for, Citizen M. I don't show everything, but it's a hotel that is fighting against all the other hotel cliches. It's something we came up with from the beginning. Also the name, it comes from Mobile Citizens. So this was an action that we did around the Hilton Hotel when the Citizen M opened in New York. Citizen M says a 24-hour bar and free Wi-Fi beats a guy in a silly hat carrying your bags. So he was quite quickly removed there, but this was just for PR. And we also did a film to show that they were kind of fighting with all the hotel cliches as a hotel. I think this is also something important when you, don't get me wrong, when I come up with new work, I have to struggle as much as you do to find something new, of course. This is every time a new struggle, and I'm quite frustrated about it, because you're not born with the talent to come up with nice advertising, but that's something you really have to do every day. And but when you sometimes have the idea like, okay, this is totally impossible, that is actually something that you should embrace. And this is a nice example of it. It's a hotel in the center of Amsterdam, a budget hotel. This was actually the first client that ever called us, and so we were quite happy. The guy said like, listen, you have to help me because I have so many complaints, I just want to get rid of it. So I went there the next day, and it was like the biggest shithole I saw in my life. It was a nightmare. And I thought like, thank you very much, this is our first client. And but then we thought like, maybe it's we thought like maybe honesty is their only luxury they have, because there was no, otherwise there was no luxury. It's a 500 bed hotel with students and backpackers, and yeah, it's quite a rough place. So we just wanted to be very honest about everything there. So we made these posters saying now a bed in every room, or now more rooms without a window. A door in every room, of course. More dog shit in the main entrance, which is quite common in Amsterdam. And also when you check in, which is not very positive, I can tell you, when you open the door. There was this A3 cardboard card on your bed, so it looks like this. And if you have scissors on you, you could all these possible luxuries, you could cut them out and then pimp your room with it. And so this was going very well. Next we did like a very luxurious campaign. So I stole this, to be honest, 5-star hotel image. And it says there like not included, so there's nothing in this image which is included. So we went on making quite anti-advertising for them, which really worked, because when we started to work for them, they had 60,000 overnights, and slowly it was growing already towards 100,000 overnights within 2 or 3 years. And because we kept on making very cynical and ironic advertising, which of course for that target group, I mean, it's not good to do this for another company, I think, but for them it's very positive. But at a certain moment we thought like, okay, now we are almost finished with this because we can't make it any worse than we already did. But then we used that for the next campaign. We can't make it any worse, but we'll do our best. So these were like smart solutions of the hotel to make the checking in a little bit more bearable. I mean, this is like a window in the hotel. I mean, there are 3 rooms with this view. I mean, it's not Photoshop, it's real. And even here, I mean, the image on the right is a bit more promising than the image on the left. I mean, and then after 15 years working for them, we found out something very positive the first time. I mean, I can fill a whole evening showing their work, but this is just like a shortcut, because we found out that the hotel was accidentally eco-friendly. Because it had like an eco-towel in the room, which was the curtain, of course, eco-elevator, there was an eco-shower even in the room, and this sometimes these ideas are just on the street, because when I cycled past the hotel every night, it was on my way home every time. I mean, I was so annoyed that for 5 years only the L was burning of their hotel sign. I mean, they have a huge hotel sign, so. Yeah, that was in a way the idea for this campaign. So because it says also here, it has this eco fact saying our hotel sign only uses 20% of the energy of normal hotel signs. And yeah, so that's about this hotel. About the mistakes, so coming back to the book again, I mean, I think that you will find already quite a lot of mistakes in this work, but for me it's very nice to fuel myself with images that I find, or images that I take myself on the street of certain mistakes that you find there. Some examples, some are in the book as well, but some examples from the book are like this stair. First you think like nice architecture, but yeah, soon you think like what the fuck is going on here? I mean, even on very small mistakes it turns out quite nice. I mean, here a huge billboard, it's like an epic fuck up this, you know, like they had a 50% chance to make it right. But I think that a billboard like this attracts more viewers than when it would be perfectly fitting. So also here, you know, like, yeah, it's, for me it's very, a lot of inspiration this, you know, like even here they really challenge you to park there, but other parking, I mean, yeah, here, it's so useless this. But also next one I really like, when you have children, a lot of people here have children, and some, I mean I have children too, and it's sometimes really, especially when they were young, I really hated them. You have to be honest about that, but it gets better along the way. But But the next design is especially made for these parents who hate their children, because you just put them in there and then the problem is solved. You know, like look, there some people tried it there. It's like so. This is in the graveyard in Amsterdam. Can you believe it? You know, to put a garbage bin next to a grave. You know, like it's just like to bring your dead family members and just put them in the garbage bin. And here there's a clear sign how to spell it, but still they do it wrong. Shopping mall with a floor that goes nowhere, goes on. Toilets are also very special. I mean, this is a disabled toilet. What's the use of making a disabled toilet when you don't want anybody to go in there? But normal toilets, they really like to go people in there, because as many people as possible should go in there. There's hardly any privacy anymore. I mean, look at it. It's a bizarre design, you know, like... This is another disabled toilet, you know, like there's a huge distance here. I mean, how can you do that? It's like very dangerous. Even when you're not disabled, it's very dangerous. And then you have all kinds of smart things to open and close the door. Small mistake, but soon it will be a gigantic mess in this toilet. And the next one is my favorite. It's like a really ecological design of a toilet as well, because you can combine a lot of things. You know, you can take a piss, you wash your hands, you wash your dick. It's just like one big circular system, you know. There's everything in there. This little towel to clean everything off, and it's perfect. I mean, I can look for a long time at an image like this, really. Yeah, then I think also sometimes similar to almost the impossible embracing that, I think that illogical ideas are also quite good. I have one example. We did recently a campaign for a museum in Milan, Triennale, and this exhibition was all about what is design after design. What is the next thing what is the next big thing? Because now we can make everything with all the tools we have, but what are we actually going to make? So the idea was to make a campaign that would also play a role in the exhibition, even on the street and in the exhibition. So we made this yellow thing, which is actually nothing. It's just like made in 5 minutes in the office. And then we 3D modeled it and made it very beautiful. And then everybody's adoring this yellow thing, which is nothing. And also, it was a huge campaign using the yellow thing for all kinds of things. And there was a lot of merchandising. We wrote 3 books about the yellow thing, which whatever you could do with it, and future predictions, what you could do with the yellow thing. And there was a little chapel in the museum where you could see the real yellow thing, and people could really adore it. And we did this film.
It's your partner, your navigator, your advisor. It will push you to your limits and beyond. It will make you better, more perceptive and fitter. It's your travel companion, decision maker and confidant. You will learn to love it, play with it, pray to it, get intimate with it. The next big thing is this thing.
Yeah, then another topic I write in the book about is that it's actually, I think, one of the most important things, especially in creativity now, also with people that start or that have studied quite recently, is that you should use your own backyard more. I mean, this is more a metaphor, because normally your backyard is a place that you don't want to show to people. I mean, there's a huge mess there. You have a fence around it, and there's it looks a bit like this, you know, like that's your backyard, you know, and I mean that metaphorically. So, I mean, a lot of students nowadays, and a lot of people anyway, that has to do with the machines we have and the computers, that we immediately make finished things, you know, so without even maybe thinking about it, we create these things and they look perfect, and you can put them in the front garden and they look perfect. But it's actually more the backyard where you should go to and just it's also painful to go there. I mean, it takes you a while to come up with new ideas, and metaphorically, that's also your own backyard. So, what do you bring to this new idea? Who are you? What is your kind of style? What kind of things you like? Those are the things that you find in the backyard, and then you bring it, you make it, and you finish it, and then you bring it to the front yard. And finally, 2 examples. What I think is also, I mean, I have I get a lot of inspiration from amateurism and from amateurs, also because, professionals are in a way also maybe too professional nowadays, and it has to do also again with the tools we have. And I mean, I don't say that professionals have to become amateurs. It's maybe too much, but they have to think sometimes a little bit more like an amateur. And I have 2 examples. One is maybe quite horrible, but I'm going to do it anyway. We make a magazine called Useful Photography, and it's like a hobby, and this is like issue number 13. And in the magazine, there's all kinds of images that people make to actually for a certain purpose. And this is quite amateuristic one also, because we found out, I mean, we live in this whole selfie culture anyway nowadays. But there's a lot of selfies nowadays. You could call it selfies. Yeah, I think in Germany they have only one. There's only in Germany a word for it, for these kind of pictures. They call it Schwanzvergleich, because a lot of people take pictures of their own, or men take pictures of their own genitals with something next to it. You know, like to share the size, like to. So we found about 8,000 of these images online. People, they are just publicly accessible, these images. And so we made a magazine and then edited all the images that we found on the course of a day, because I mean, there's something next to it, but you could almost follow. It's almost like a day in the life of Dick. So you start with the alarm clock, of course. After that, there's shampoo. You know, you have to wash yourself. I mean, shave yourself, of course. Then you use some deodorant, because soon after you have to prepare yourself and brush yourself for the breakfast. Like this is the breakfast. You know, like there's a lot of very nice Schwanzvergleich images here, and you brush your teeth. There's a lot of brands that we categorized, and then the next one is also quite disturbing. I mean, we found about 18 pictures of people leaving the door, dicks leaving the door. So this is like them leaving the door. Because you look very good, by the way. Yeah, you look like a complete dick. Yeah.
Of course. Please take a picture.
Oh fuck! My friend is calling. Oh wait, one moment. Hey Thomas, this is not the right moment. I'm in a conference. Hello? Oh, he gave up. Then you leave the door. You have to go to. In your car, you have to go to work. Some people at work, they still work on PCs, other ones on Mac. And then, of course, the lunch, it's a very obvious one. And cigarette break, you have to do some extra work, because soon after you have to spend some money to do the breakfast, or to do the dinner, to prepare the dinner. And there's, in the book, there's many pages with the coins. I mean, this is a double page with 1 coin. 2 coins, 3 coins. I mean, and the most we found is like 28 coins on a dick. Like, then you have a little snack, a drink. You have to go to the toilet. I mean, when you're happy, there's some paper. If not, it's like this. And of course the dinner, very obvious, the cucumber, the most obvious Schwanzvergleich. And then you play some after dinner. Is still okay, or it's okay? Okay. You do some, you know, the drums and perfects, you know, like. And then the TV is. You still okay, or? Then a drink, of course. I mean, there are so many beer bottles next to dicks that in the magazine we only have A to Z in beer brands. Astra, Bex, Carling, Duff, and then it's kind of sad ending of the book because some privacy is needed, and of course the obvious thing is going to happen. They have sex and some little help, and here you see that slowly there's the bedtime, and this is the last page of the book. It's the teddy bear, and the light is the back cover of the book. The light is switched off, and people prepare themselves for the next day again. Oh, Jesus! Didn't know. Okay, and the last one is maybe it has also a lot to do with amateurism. I mean, I make a lot of these. I make a lot of work which I haven't shown tonight, but a lot of work with images that I find, and because it's my work, but it's also my hobby a little bit. So I go to a lot of flea markets, and I find images of amateurs that. I mean, in a family album, you see sometimes very beautiful amateur behavior, and this is a very nice example of it because it's. Actually a family who's fighting against one of the biggest mysteries in photography, and that's how to shoot my black dog. And this family tried to do that for 12 years, and they fucked up every year, every time. Look, I mean, where the fuck is the black dog? Here, where is it? I mean, even outside they fucked it up. I mean, here as well, I tell you, it is here. I mean, they decided to buy a black sofa, not very smart, even in bright daylight outside, they managed to position the dog in front of the shadow. And it goes on and on. So the whole book is one big failure. And but then in the end, I found in that album one image where they put probably so much effort in because they were so fed up with not seeing their own dog that in the last image they start to fiddle with the camera. And they started to overexpose the image. And yes, that's for the first time. That you see a little bit the dog. Okay, thank you for now. Was it too long or?
No, it was perfect.
Okay,
yeah, danke.
Cool.
Wie findet
Can
man
you
jetzt
pour me a glass of wine now? Because
You will get it. No?
okay.
Hat sich verdient, ne?
Okay.
Wie findet man jetzt da jetzt wieder einen seriösen Zugang? Ne? Während ich es aufmache, rede ich weiter. Wir haben uns vorgenommen, wir machen das jetzt sehr europäisch. Ich stelle die Fragen auf Deutsch, ihr antwortet auf Englisch. Aber bevor wir ganz beginnen, möchte ich noch im Namen unseres Obmanns, ne, wir sind ja hier in der Wirtschaftskammer Wien, die hat natürlich auch einen Obmann, so eine Fachgruppe, der kann heute leider nicht kommen. Und deswegen hat er mich gebeten, ein paar Worte für ihn vorzulesen, die ihm wichtig waren. Ich freue mich sehr, dass wir als Fachgruppe Werbung Wien mit Forward Creatives zusammenarbeiten und so einen tollen Event auf die Beine stellen konnten. Vielen Dank an alle Beteiligte. Als gebürtiger Niederländer ist es besonders schade, dass ich heute beim Talk mit meinem Landsmann Erik Kessels nicht dabei sein kann. Ich wünsche alle Beteiligten einen spannenden und erhellenden Abend. Danke. Schön, also von unserem Obmann Marco Schreuder. Ich glaube, nach diesen einleitenden 20 Minuten brauche ich jetzt nicht mehr so viel über die Person Erik Kessels sagen. Also ein bisschen so einen Eindruck hat man schon bekommen, was seine Arbeiten aussagen und welchen Zugang er auch zu seinen Arbeiten hat. Nur so viel, 1966 geboren und 1996 die Agentur Kessels Kramer gegründet. Ja. Und arbeitet seitdem für internationale Kunden wie nationale. Und bezeichnet sich selbst eher so als Art Director, Künstler, Kurator, Publizist, der die Bücher eben, die wir heute jetzt so im Anschnitt ein bisschen gesehen haben, auch herausbringt. Wozu soll es jetzt diese eine Stunde mit? Das ist eben ein neues Format, das wir aus der Fachgruppe Werbung entwickelt haben. Und mir war es eben ein Anliegen, ein Gespräch mit Top-Kreativen der Welt zu führen. Deswegen, ich glaube, jetzt brauchen wir auch nicht mehr erklären, wo das kreative Potenzial liegt. Wollten uns aber jetzt, abgesehen von der Einleitung, eher weniger über die Arbeiten an sich unterhalten, sondern was da für Personen, für Menschen dahinter stecken. Und der Antrieb, das zu machen, war für mich so ein bisschen so die Erkenntnis, dass uns als Branche teilweise so ein bisschen eben diese Craziness oder diese Ausgefallenheit, diese Leidenschaft, diese Verrücktheit und diese Spinnereien ein bisschen abhanden kommen. Und ich habe mir gedacht, na, vielleicht gelingt es uns durch so eine kleine Gesprächsreihe mit Persönlichkeiten aus der Werbung und aus dem Grafikdesign, dieses Feuer wieder zum Teil ein bisschen so zu entfachen oder uns ein bisschen zum Nachdenken zu bringen, weil ich bin darüber eigentlich ziemlich sicher, dass viele von uns das irgendwann einmal, wie wir begonnen haben oder auch zwischendurch und immer wieder eigentlich sich danach sehnen, verrückte Dinge zu machen und wir so im Zeitgeist dann ein bisschen so darunter leiden mit unserem Kunden und was ist möglich und was ist nicht möglich, das dann umzusetzen. Also es geht mehr um die Charaktere, die hinter diesen arbeiten, aber auch ein Gespräch so ein bisschen über die Branche, wie wir das auch so sehen, die Entwicklungen, die Trends etc. Und ich hoffe, dass das eine spannende Geschichte wird. Ganz allgemein, auch wenn ich so ein paar Fragen stelle, soll das jetzt nicht so ein ganz typisches Frage-Antwort-Geschichte werden, dass ich also eine Frage nach der anderen stelle und du beantwortest sie, sondern wenn dir was einfällt, kannst du mich auch was fragen. Also es soll eher ein Gespräch sein, wie wir es halt unter Umständen bei eben einem Glas Wein am Küchentisch führen würden, auch wenn der Küchentisch jetzt hier nicht da ist. Gut, ich glaube, die erste Frage, die ich trotzdem stellen muss, ist etwas, was jetzt, glaube ich, ganz viele von uns hier auch denken: Wie wird man so, wie du bist? Also, wie bist du so geworden oder wie hältst du das, was du auch bist und wie du bist am Leben? Also, dass man auch so bleibt, weil wenn man jetzt 25 Jahre Werbung macht, könnte man meinen, na gut, jetzt nach 25 Jahren, jetzt habe ich so viel Erfahrung, ich mache die Schubladen von A bis Z auf, habe meine Konzepte, habe meine Art und Weise, die Dinge zu machen. Aber wie bleibt man so verrückt oder so im positiven Sinne ein Spinner?
Yeah, I think maybe it is also something different. I mean, I talked a little bit about it, that you have to go back to your backyard, but I come from quite a small village where, when I was 5 years old, I wanted to be a shop window dresser, because that was the only kind of creative thing that I saw in the village I lived, and thought like, wow, I also want to do that. And so there was also, in that sense, not a lot of distraction of a lot of things, and so that is also quite a good foundation, I think, to if you like to make things, or like I was always drawing, so that there's not a lot of noise around it, and I mean, in my case. Something quite dramatic happened when I was young, because my sister, it was my only sister, she died when I was 11, she was 9. She got driven over by a truck in the village, and while she was crossing the street, and he drove through red lights, and so my parents were maybe 5-6 years a lot in grief about that, and I was very much thinking like I was in starting my puberty, so I didn't want to bother them too much, so I stayed quite quiet, and I spent like kind of isolated for many years in the house, drawing and making my things. And I think when I think back of it, that is also quite a good foundation. On the other hand, I think that later when I started to work in advertising agencies, it is quite good also, and you need to be lucky with what kind of people you surround yourself with. I mean, you don't have that, you can't choose them, but I was sometimes quite lucky with it, and that I worked with people that really inspired me and that I could climb up to. And but then gaining some experience in that, and up till I was about 30 years, I've seen a lot of things, but I also saw things that I didn't want to continue with anymore. So that was also the starting point of the company, that we had a company with no account executives, just creatives, production people, and strategy persons. And we were also the first company in Holland that was started only with 2 creatives at that time, which was never done. But I mean, I thought it was strange why creatives can't run a business. I mean, I also know a little bit how to do that. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I know how to sell the work that I make also accordingly. And but that is, and then another thing which is very important, I think, for most of this work, and also why we nowadays, I'm now quite proud, but it's very hard work, that in 20 years' time we never did anything, never anything left the door that I hated. I show some things now, and we work also for governmental jobs or organ donation of more serious things, but that doesn't mean that you have to make them horrible, or you can also you can touch different subjects. But most of that came from the fact that in the beginning we said quite a lot of times no to things, because we thought like if we want to start, then we also need to build up a little bit our own style and portfolio. So, we also said quite a lot of times no, and not to be arrogant, but just to, we thought it's not a good fit at the moment, even that we needed the money, but we maintained it a little bit longer, and then built smaller jobs, and then they became a little bit bigger, but we had a clean slate and not making any compromises. I mean, of course, you need to make always a certain compromise, but it's quite good when you're still very happy with the work that you make. But that's, I mean, so I think today having that foundation of not willing to produce horrible work, because there is a lot of horrible work made, like. I'm not patting myself on the shoulder because it's a lot of hard work to do that like this, to follow this route, but that comes from the fact that that's one of the most important and the most difficult things. Where do I say yes to and where do I say no to?
Okay. Aber du hast schon eine klassische Ausbildung gemacht, irgendwo auf einer Hochschule, oder wie war das bei dir als Artdirektor? Hast du also deine Ausbildung gemacht und bist dann eingestiegen bei klassischen Werbeagenturen, oder war das Designagenturen? Wie war dieser erste Einstieg für dich in die ganze Branche an sich?
Yeah, so I wanted to be a shop window dresser,
Okay.
so I waited 11 years till I could go to kind of a polytechnic school where they taught you to become a shop window dresser. But after 1 hour, I really hated it. I mean, I was dreaming of this for 11 years, and within 1 hour, it was gone. But luckily, there was also marketing, and there was more a broad polytechnic school. And after that, I went there when I was 16, finished when I was 20. But then I got to work quite quickly. I mean, they offered me a really nice job. But then in the evening hours, I did for 3 years also art school, where I did painting and graphics. And so I did always a lot of different things. I'm taught in different creative fields.
Das mit dem Schaufensterdekorateur habe ich nämlich gelesen. Hat mich eigentlich gefreut, und ich habe mir gedacht, das ist nämlich eines dieser Felder, die wir so als Kreative, auch als, ob das jetzt Grafikdesigner sind oder Werbeagenturen, so sträflich vernachlässigen. Ich finde das eigentlich großartige Flächen, an denen wir jeden Tag vorbeigehen, die jetzt nicht als klassische Werbeflächen empfunden werden und die aus meiner Sicht ja eigentlich ganz, ganz furchtbar ausschauen, also sehr lieblos in den meisten Fällen, oder so standardisiert. Die könnten dann, wenn du jetzt bei uns in Wien ist das der Graben und die Goldene Meile, das könnte jetzt in London genauso sein wie in Paris oder in Mailand, das schaut alles gleich konfektioniert aus.
Ja.
Und wären eigentlich großartige Flächen, um die Leute auch zu begeistern für die Produkte, die da dargestellt werden. Und ich fände das eigentlich als Herausforderung für uns als Werbeagenturen oder als Grafikdesigner eigentlich eine tolle Aufgabe, zu sagen, widmen wir uns des Themas der Schaufenster und machen die zu interessanten Plätzen.
Ja,
ja.
I agree.
Okay. Weil du gesagt hast, auch mit diesen, ich glaube ja, dass ganz viel, und wie ich mich auch auf das Gespräch ein bisschen so vorbereitet habe und so nachgedacht habe, ist mir dann irgendwann einmal dieser Film Club der Toten Dichter eingefallen, wo es um diesen Perspektivenwechsel gegangen ist, wo der Lehrer da, also ich habe mich irrsinnig gedacht, eigentlich sind wir so als kreative Klasse, habe ich mich erinnert gefühlt an diese Elite-Universität, weil wir denken ja doch auch, und wir haben ja auch ein Selbstbild als Branche, dass wir mit dem, was wir machen, ja etwas also besser sind als die Amateure, auch wenn du dich auf sie beziehst, weil wir ein bisschen mehr können oder auch das Denken halt ein bisschen. Und da kommt ja dieser Literaturprofessor in diese strenge Klasse, mit dieser strengen Hierarchien, mit diesen strengen Regeln, und bringt dann der Klasse bei, die Perspektive zu verändern, um einen neuen Blick auf das Problem oder auf das Buch und auf die Emotionen und auf die Leidenschaften zu bekommen. Und da würde mich interessieren, wie du da rangehst, auf wie viele, also da steigt der Lehrer auch übrigens in einer Szene dieses Filmes auf den Schreibtisch, um diesen Schülern zu demonstrieren, ändert einmal den Blickwinkel auf die Welt und ihr kriegt eine neue Sicht auf die Dinge. Jetzt würde mich interessieren, auf welche Schreibtische du steigst, wenn du dich dem Problem oder dem Briefing oder der Herausforderung stellst.
Yeah, I think, but I already said it a little bit, like I am very similar to somebody who's starting maybe in the business. I am still very not confident, so unconfident and not deliberately, but it's really like that. So when I start with something, I'm also okay. Either you have an idea within 5 minutes, so that was with the I Amsterdam, and it sometimes happens. The other option is that you really have to work for it, and then you have to, for 1 week, 2 weeks, you have to struggle to go through a lot of different fields to find one open, nice open spot where that nobody used yet, and so. For me to the being not confident and very vulnerable in a process, that is very good. And when I'm not, I build that in it, because you should give yourself the time before going to a computer or to think about what you want to make and how you want to make it, and that's a very like a complicated process, but that nobody has to know that. It's a process in your mind, and but there's also rules for. There's also some tools for it. I mean, if you really can't find something, then you take something and make it bigger, or you take something big and you make it smaller, or everybody goes right, you go left, or there's many tricks to do it, or. Sometimes you're stuck and you just think about a Cocker Spaniel or an Indian, or it has nothing to do with the brief, but it's a nice trick to sometimes divert your thinking process. I don't say that it works always, but it's good to also try to get yourself confused constantly. I mean, when you have the idea, then you should be confident, of course, because you need to present it at some point, and you need to also explain it to a client how you found this, and then you because then you are also confident, because you think that was in the end that it was a good idea.
Ich meine, weil du vorher gesagt hast, am Anfang muss man Nein sagen können.
Ja.
Und da war ich ein bisschen so erinnert, wie wir auch unsere eigene Agentur begonnen haben, waren wir auch sehr strikt eigentlich, wir waren ein bisschen so missionarisch unterwegs und wollten also den Kunden mit den tollsten Dingen konfrontieren. Und ehrlich gesagt, wir haben das dann irgendwann ab einem gewissen Punkt nicht mehr ganz ausgehalten, dass wir sagen, wir können auf das Geld verzichten. Und dann habe ich gemerkt, dass mit der Zeit, wenn man dann sich so anpasst, dass man langsam verlernt, wirklich toll zu denken. Ja, ja. Also man bleibt kreativ, man hat ja das Handwerk gelernt, also man kommt zu Lösungen, aber diese Lösungen sind nichts mehr Spektakuläres, also es ist nichts mehr Außergewöhnliches. Und das ist dann wieder ganz harte Arbeit, wenn man sich so selbst dann ärgert, man schaut sich die Dinge an, man ist eigentlich nie, man sagt, es ist so, wie du richtig gesagt hast, also ich finde ja, die schlimmste Emotion, die man auslösen kann, ist die Gleichgültigkeit. Ja. Also wenn man eben nicht entweder sagt, das ist großartig, und der eine sagt, das ist der volle Scheiß, das ist zumindest eine Emotion, mit der könnte ich was anfangen. Und dann steckt man aber so drinnen, dass man Projekte macht, die zwar sauber sind und die ganz okay sind und die so den Zeitgeist erfüllen, aber die diesem Zeitgeist nicht mehr voraus sind.
I have a good example of that. I mean, when we were maybe 4 years working, then we got like a very big mobile phone client. It was like the biggest client given in that year, in budget-wise, and they had a very nice name where we worked with. They were not on the market yet. It was another 4 or 5 months. But then we worked with that name and made quite nice work with it. But it was so big that we hired quite a lot of people on it, and it was 60% of our income in the company. That only that client, and from one day to the other, they decided to change the name, because the name they used, somebody in the company didn't really register it perfectly, so somebody else took it, or somebody else complained that name was not good, or couldn't be taken. So they changed the name overnight from like a mother company, the name, which was a total stupid name. And for us it was like a disaster, because we had to work with this new name. And I mean, it was a nightmare. I mean, but we got together with the people in the company, some of us, and we spoke 5 minutes about it, and we decided to stop the client and call them and say, like, listen, we can't do this, and we can't. I mean, we like to work with you, but this name, it's not going to work for you, because in this dense market, and you are being the last one entering it, you're not going to win that war. And yeah, and also we thought like we make so much work with this that it's going to be very visible, and our name is on it as well. So and we didn't believe in it, but it was like 60% of our income, so it was quite intense. Later it was like the best decision we have ever made, because what happened was that they went to another agency to work with them. After 2 months they couldn't work with the name they had used either. They couldn't use that anymore for some reason. And then they came back to us. So after 3 months they came back and they said like, here we are again, we have no name. You can come up with a name. And do you still want to do it? And then we got it back, and we worked 5 years for them later, and became a very, for us, it was, I don't show it often abroad because it's a Dutch campaign, but it was was one of the best things we did over time. And also because we gained so much trust with this client that we were very honest in saying like, listen, it doesn't feel, our gut feeling says we cannot do this, and we told them, and they really, in the end, they rewarded that.
Mhm. Weil du sagst, mit dem Namen, von dem Kunden, der hätte nicht funktioniert oder der wäre so alltäglich gewesen, dass man damit eigentlich nicht auffällt. Das ist ja auch etwas, was sich auch in deinem Buch und auch in deinen Arbeiten immer wieder zeigt, dass man sagt, okay, das Durchbrechen von Regeln und aber auch die Inspirationsquellen, dass man sich halt nicht so sehr in der eigenen Branche umzuschauen hat, weil wenn man sich immer nach links und rechts schaut, was sich da tut, dann ist das irgendwie so eine immer so wiederkäuende Masse, die man sich halt reproduziert.
Ja.
Uns fällt es halt auch, und ich glaube jedem von uns auch in der täglichen Arbeit auf, dass es ja überhaupt so einen Branchenlook immer gibt. Das ist irgendwie ganz, Telekom-Unternehmen kommunizieren alle weltweit gleich, und die Pharmaunternehmen kommunizieren alle weltweit gleich, und die Hotels schauen alle schon von der Inneneinrichtung bis zur Kommunikation alle gleich aus. Aber wo holt man sich dann die Inspirationen, die einen wirklich weiterbringen? Wo man sagt, das sind die Quellen oder das sind so Motive, die mich auch mit meinem Denken, in meinem kreativen Schaffungsprozess so unterscheidbar machen, dass ich dann etwas generieren kann daraus, was für meinen Kunden einen Benefit bringt.
Yeah, a lot of that has also to do with that a lot of creative people, they start to work immediately, but they maybe forget to think sometimes. So I think in a lot of times, and also we do that together in a team with also a strategy person, and I mean it's important to, like for instance for the hotel, that budget hotel, this line that honesty is their only luxury, that is a line that one sentence that we came up with, but that's something we still use today. And the hotel has now 160,000 overnights, coming from 60,000. The hotel hasn't changed; it still looks shit. But now people are I mean, the funny thing is also, the client wanted to get rid of the complaints, but now there are still complaints. But people are now complaining because they have been there and they think it was not bad enough. So they go there for the experience, and which is strange. But this came all from this one line that we still use. So that is also something, the foundation of it. I mean, of course, there's some examples here that is just an execution. But in long-lasting campaigns, the foundation is very important. I mean, what is the idea for instance, we worked for a insurance company, like car insurance, health insurance, you know, and we looked at the whole field, and then we found out that actually no company ever used chances. You know, I don't know how to Chanceberechnung, when you measure the chances. Yeah, so that was because insurance company has to do with measuring the chances of something going wrong, and so we used that as an idea, and then I mean, it said like there were executions only with these percentages of that something could go wrong, and we used it for 5-6 years. Okay. So there's a chance on the square. There was a big poster saying there's a chance of 0.003% that you crash into this famous pop star there, or there's a chance of 100% that you will die for the insurance, for the death insurance police, or. So yeah, these are grounded ideas that there is the originality, or there's the foundation, and then you, from there on, you can make ideas that seem crazy maybe, but they are very strong founded or grounded. Yeah.
Aber an sich, wenn man sich dann auch deine Arbeiten anschaut, oder ganz generell, ich glaube, das ist, ich meine, damit hadert man ja oftmals, glaube ich, dass man viele Kreative ja glauben, man muss so über 3 Ecken denken, um zu beweisen, dass man kreativ ist. Und oftmals ist ja der kürzeste Weg zwischen A und B eigentlich die tolle kreative Idee, die dann das am nähersten oder am deutlichsten ausdrückt, das Produkt oder die Dienstleistung für den Kunden, für den wir arbeiten. Ich bin nämlich auf da gibt es diesen berühmten Koch, den Ferran Adrià, der dieses Ebulli, ne, da bei Barcelona, und der hat eben auch 2 Sätze irgendwie geprägt, einmal die habe ich beim so Durchblättern, das ist so ein dickes Buch, und da hat er gesagt, eben Kreativität bedeutet für ihn nicht kopieren, und Kreativität ohne gute Organisation ist nicht möglich.
Nicht kopieren?
Also nicht kopieren, also Kreativität ist nicht zu kopieren, das ist für ihn nicht zu kopieren. Ne? Also, und das andere ist, dass man sehr gut organisiert sein muss, um wirklich kreativ zu sein.
Yeah, I agree with the last one, but maybe I don't agree with both of them, because it's also quite good to be. I mean, at the end there should be an organization, but it's also a structured chaos. You know, like that is also quite nice. And about copying, I think you should copy a lot. You know, like I heard. I mean, I don't mean literally copying, but for instance, I read once a story of a guy who wanted to write his own novel and wanted to make a really good novel, but then he took one of his favorite novels by a very famous writer, and he typed that whole novel again, so that at least he had the feeling how it felt to write a fantastic novel, and then so he copied it totally, and then he knew what kind of the ways of doing this was, and then he started with his own novel. Okay. Was not so good in the end, but at least, yeah.
Aber wenn du sagst, das finde ich mich interessant, weil du sagst, man muss organisiert sein oder zumindest am Schluss organisiert sein, und du hast doch vorher ganz am Anfang gesagt, ihr seid ohne den Client Service Directors und Etat Director und sowas ausgekommen, also nur mit Kreativen, die mit dem Kunden gearbeitet haben. Aber bei euch im Team waren schon von Anfang an auch Strategen dabei, also für die strategische Planung. Weil das wollte ich eben wissen, ist das sehr organisiert oder um in der Fußballersprache zu bleiben, ist das jetzt so, wenn ich mir vorstellen kann, ist das so wie die Deutschen Fußball spielen, also harte Arbeit, diszipliniert, sehr erfolgsorientiert, aber halt vielleicht schnörkelloses Spiel? Oder ist das auch so Arbeit, wo man sagt, das ist halt so der Einfall von einem Diego Maradona, der spielt jetzt nicht nach einer Taktikplan, aber kann mit seinem Bauchgefühl, mit dieser Intuition am Spielfeld eine ganze Weltmeisterschaft gewinnen?
Maybe none of them. Maybe more the Dutch football
ja, wollte ich sagen,
style.
Football total,
sometimes
total
you are
Football.
Fantastic,
ja.
And sometimes you suck.
Ja, ich hätte jetzt Italien auch sagen können, aber wollte ich mir nicht ins Fleisch schneiden. Ja, also deswegen.
Okay. No, but maybe the Dutch, it's more the Dutch style, like, and especially with football. Like, sometimes you're brilliant for some years, and then you're nothing.
Yeah.
It's horrible. So I mean, there's also like, I mean, it's also a bit in the. I think in Austria, for instance, there's quite a lot of good people coming from here. I mean, we had already some people in the office from here, and especially with graphic design, it's very good school here, like in the bigger picture. Yeah. And what was the question again? Sorry.
Nein, die Frage war, ist wirklich auch um die Arbeit, wir sind so, ich habe das Fußballbeispiel gebracht, ist es jetzt so diese harte Arbeit, wenn man sagt, man setzt sich strukturiert hin, man hat einen Masterplan und dann arbeitet man halt von 9 Uhr in der Früh bis 10 Uhr am Abend, oder ist es eben so das, was man sagt, eben auch das Spontaneinfall, dieses auch jetzt, weil du Strategie gesagt hast, ne? Weil wir auch hier von der Fachgruppe, wir sind ja auch, die großen Agenturen, zumindest in Österreich, gibt es ja kaum mehr. Es sind ja viele ganz kleine Agenturen, die halt das Spielfeld bedienen und die Kunden bedienen, die sich ja auch keinen großen Stuff mehr leisten können, dass man sagt, ich hätte jetzt die Zeit, dass ich für ein Strategiepapier 100 Seiten schreibe, sondern das sind so Bauchentscheidungen, man sagt,
Yeah, yeah.
die aber überzeugen müssen.
No, I think in our company it's more, since the beginning we have a love-hate relationship with the strategy people, and these are just like one of the person that is like really there from the beginning is a very good friend of mine where I went to school with, but still, and that is very nice also, because sometimes the creatives have a better strategic idea and sometimes the strategists have a better creative idea, and that is also quite nice too. So we constantly tease each other and push each other a little bit, and it's sometimes getting nasty, and but it's quite there's a competition, and that is quite, so it's not like formula, but it's a bit of a chaos and almost like juggling with things, and sometimes something very good comes out, and then it's just a matter of finding that and then holding it, taking it and holding it, and then building on that. And but for instance also we hardly have any, well, we never have any brainstorms. I mean, a brainstorm is like terrible. I mean, if you are, but everybody must feel that when you with 6-7 people in a room and you have a brainstorm. I mean, there's always 2 or 3 of them that are, they have this block note and they're just writing, but they're writing nothing. They're just like feeling a little bit intimidated by the other 3 that are very good in the meeting or in that brainstorm. So, I mean, it's just like there's a hierarchy in a room with 6 people, and that is something. There should be no hierarchy. There should be a meeting or a brainstorm with more than 2 or 3 people is doesn't make any sense. Or there should be somebody in the room, which hardly happens, but that would be good. Maybe you could do it, but that there is somebody who really leads the conversation and who's really in control of it and really structures the things that are coming in.
Es ist lustig, dass du das sagst, weil meine Kollegin, die sitzt auch im Auditorium, die kommt also sie hat in großen Agenturen gearbeitet, die sehr strukturiert waren. Und ich selbst bin ja eigentlich Quereinsteiger, habe Medizin studiert und bin dann irgendwie durch Zufälle in die Kreativbranche gekommen. Und sie hasst mich dafür, dass wir immer so zwischen Tür und Angel, also zwischen, wenn ich beim Rausgehen, setze ich mich für 2 Minuten dazu und wir beginnen irgendwie so über das Problem zu reden. Ja. Und dann bin ich eigentlich schon wieder weg. Ja, und dann setzen wir uns komme ich nach einem Tag wieder zurück und bin wieder nur für 2 Minuten da und wir reden wieder 2 Minuten, aber jeder hat in der Zwischenzeit für sich selbst nachgedacht. That's exactly how it happens. Sie hasst es, aber ich kann gar nicht anders, also ich würde es jetzt nicht aushalten, eben wie du sagst, eben für halbe Stunde, 6 Leute an einem Tisch und wir brainstormen. Das finde ich.
But I think what is more, I mean, in our place also the process happens like that, but there's also other things like that. I am also I mean, the creatives that I work with, and I also really love them, So I spend quite a lot of time in talking with them, sometimes on different subjects, or in a way to make them comfortable and uncomfortable, and to comfortable in the company, but uncomfortable in coming up with ideas or. Yeah, this constantly switching between that is a very good thing.
Nur ganz kurz, weil wir immer von Kreativen reden. Was hältst du eigentlich jetzt dann tatsächlich von so kreativen Quereinsteigern, die in ihrem vorigen Leben was ganz anderes gemacht haben? Ich glaube, wir kennen das bei Jung von Matt, ein toller Texter, der vorher Chemiker war oder Biochemiker und seitdem Texter, glaube ich, ist, wenn ich es richtig im Kopf habe. Oder die auch ganz andere, nämlich Blickwinkel auf so kreative Lösungen auch einbringen, weil sie vorher etwas ganz anderes gemacht haben, anstatt so. Gibt es das bei euch oder eher nicht? Oder?
Yeah, but that's more with the writers.
Okay.
Yeah, with the copywriters.
Not for the art directors,
they come from all kinds of different backgrounds, yeah.
Würdest du jetzt eigentlich sagen, bei eurer Agentur, wenn du dich selbst beschreibst, ist es jetzt mehr eine Designagentur, die Werbung macht, oder eine Werbeagentur, die Design macht?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's very, what I really don't like in the traditional advertising agencies, or especially art directors, that they're a bit lazy, like when it comes down to design. I mean, it's quite standard solutions, but this is maybe too specific. But that's why I like to hire more designers instead of classic art directors. So the designers, I teach them to become more an art director to work with photography, to be more a director with the whole for the whole process. So that is quite nice. But that has to do with that with the fact that the mix is very nice.
Ja.
I mean,
wenn man dein Buch liest, gehst du ja mit der Perfektion hart ins Gericht, also wenn man die Perfektion versucht zu erreichen, obwohl du eigentlich das aber auch zu einem Lebensmotto machst, nach der Perfektion zu streben.
ja.
Und gibt es immer so Beispiele, dass man sagt, okay, also versucht euch, malt mal ein Bild und dann macht euch die Augen zu oder verbindet sie und macht die letzten 2 Striche, ohne auf das Bild wirklich zu achten. Und jetzt schaue ich mir aber dann deine Arbeiten an und denke mir oftmals, wo ist da dieser Bruch oder wo ist dieser Versuch, es schaut alles perfekt aus. Oder traut sie euch tatsächlich auch da loszulassen und einen Punkt zu machen, wo ihr auch das Unperfekte
In the execution.
Ja. Nicht nur in der Execution, auch als Grundidee. Oder gibt es eine Kampagne, die da draußen hängt, die tatsächlich wo ein Fehler zum Ergebnis geführt hat?
I mean, I'm talking about the mistakes in your mind or in the thinking process and in the creative process. I think in the end the work needs to be quite finished and perfect. So, but I mean, I remember, of course, there's also some works that the idea was interesting, and then we had to make it. It was a film also for a radio station. And sometimes I still look at it and I think, I mean, I came up with the idea, but I don't understand it myself. So that is quite a big failure. And we had to, I mean, that's maybe one of the biggest real mistakes that we also, I mean, we gave it to the client and they were also, okay, and they ran it. But in a way we shouldn't have, because but generally I quite like it when I'm getting quite. One of the nicest moments was when you make something and you are very surprised. This was a negative example, but sometimes I'm positive surprised of something that you make with some people together, of course, with the director, with the photographer. That is a very nice thing, that you make something and you actually are very scared about what you made yourself. I had it once that we showed a campaign to a client, and the client started to cry just because of sheer panic, confusion, happiness, everything. Like that's what she told me later, but everything mixed, and that was great. I mean, that was one of the nicest moments. I still get. I was there, and it was one of the nicest moments that a client starts to cry. So I was also I thought like, oh my God, oh no. But then, her emotions were going totally, which is a great compliment, I think. Yeah.
Du hast ja mit 30 Jahren deine Agentur gegründet, 1996. Das war also aus meiner Erinnerung, ich bin jetzt auch schon alt genug, um mich an die 90er Jahre noch ganz gut erinnern zu können, war das damals eigentlich relativ jung. Also heutzutage muss man sagen, ist 30 fast ein Normalalter, um sich selbstständig zu machen, eine kleine Agentur zu gründen.
At that time it was very young.
It was
the
young,
first time, I mean now of course it totally changed.
Yeah.
But even now, a few creative people start a company, which is much more easy or much more. We got a lot of criticism at that time, and I really, I mean, they were really like, now you work for a few clients like this, but wait till a real client comes along, and then they will learn you a lesson and blah blah blah. So that was. But another thing is also what I mean. That's maybe also a nice story on advertising then. I mean, for instance, with awards, like it turns out, I read that once, that in a research report that, I mean, the advertising industry gives each other enormous amounts of awards, but there's only the hairdressers industry give each other more awards, and then the advertising industry is on the second place, and. But also when you are 25 and you work in the industry, also in design by the way, and you haven't won an award, then you should really do something else, because there's so many opportunities to win an award. So I also wanted to win an award always. When I was like 22 or something, I was really focused on it, because the whole business was like working with this, and it was like in the agency it was all very important and totally old school now. But I mean, it was so bad that my father made a replica of the award, the Dutch one, and gave it for my birthday. You know, like that's the only one I still have. But
Okay.
but after that, we won, of course, a lot of awards. Which, yeah, I mean, until you have a whole room full of plexiglass, and and one is even uglier than the other. And then you think, like, what the fuck, what is this? You know, like, so we, maybe 15 years ago, or maybe longer even, we stopped entering into any awards, which also the whole industry in Holland, or the Art Directors Club, they hate us for that, of course. And but it was purely also, it was just a resistance. So it was I mean, imagine how many awards we or whatever, I don't care, but if I would still go to these awards nights where everybody pats you on the shoulder and says, like, are you busy with work? You know, that's the only thing they can say. And we just put our eyes on other things. We did a furniture collection, we made a film about the two lowest qualified football nations. They played a game together. During the final during a final between Germany and Japan or Germany and Brazil. So we did a lot of these extra things. We have a publishing publishing company. We just try to we have a gallery, a shop in London. We just try to fuel ourselves with different things instead of awards, because if you enter into these awards, it's a shitload of money. I mean, in the last years that we did it, we spent about 30,000 euros in entering to awards. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Es ist interessant, dass du das sagst, weil also ich glaube schon, dass es für den einzelnen Kreativen, der angestellt ist für eine Firma, die Awards noch immer eine Bedeutung haben für seinen Lebenslauf, wenn er sich dann bewirbt bei anderen Agenturen etc.
But if you work really, if you make a great project, which nobody has, and nowadays it's very easy to promote a project like that on blogs, on everything, you know, like everybody sees something, when something great is made, everybody picks it up. That's better than an award, I think. Yeah. I mean, you can do also your own private project, which has a lot of, I mean, the 20-year-old, the guys that are in the 20s that work in our office, they never asked me can we still enter some work in? And I give them a lot of freedom to work also on other things. Two people make sculptures, one runs a magazine himself, or so it's a lot of.
Ich verstehe das total. Also ich muss sagen, wir haben uns 2003 gegründet und uns waren diese Preise am Anfang total wichtig. Wir haben auch gedacht, wenn wir die Preise gewinnen, dann würde irgendwann einmal das Telefon läuten, weil ja die Leute aufmerksam werden auf uns, und sagen, wenn die da so tolle Arbeiten leisten und ausgezeichnet werden in England oder in Deutschland und in Österreich oder bei diesen Alex Europe, dann müssen die ja gute Arbeit leisten. Aber es hat das Telefon nie geläutet, also aufgrund der Preise. Ne? Also deswegen haben wir dann 2014, glaube ich, auch aufgehört damit einzureichen, wenn wir gesagt haben, besser ist eigentlich die Selbstvermarktung der tollen Arbeiten, als auf einen Preis zu hoffen, der viel Aufwand ist, ein ganzes Monat meistens. Der Jänner war blockiert, immer mit Einreichungen, ausfüllen, einschicken, verpacken, schreiben, beschreiben.
Yeah, we had also another, I mean, during 2000 till 2005, there was like a huge economy, it was like a boom, and we had also, because we didn't want to, I mean, we are with 35 people in Amsterdam and 15 in London, so in total maybe 50 people. We didn't want to grow because at that time there was so much work that people really many times knocked at the door or called, but what we did, we made like a website that was really difficult to get into, and it was a website which was really confusing. It was like a website that there were 250 websites on that one website. It was like Kessels Kramer gardening store, Kessels Kramer wedding service. So every time we would do a horrible HTML website that we rebuilt, put our own name on it.
I remember.
And but we ran that for maybe 8 or 10 years. But then we had to change it because really nobody was calling anymore. So it was really a bit of a mistake. But we had really weekly. We had so many good reviews on that website. But yeah, it didn't work. But
Jetzt muss ich trotzdem eine Sache noch fragen. Ich glaube, die uns ja als Branche am allermeisten bewegt, sind ja eigentlich unsere Kunden. In dieser Serie Mad Men gibt es ja diesen einen Satz, wir arbeiten in einer tollen Branche, wenn es nur die Kunden nicht gäbe, also die Kunden stören. In dieser Ding steht das. Und jetzt wollte ich dich eben fragen, wie geht's ihr mit euren Kunden um oder wie verkauft ihr eure Ideen oder wie bringt ihr die rüber, dass man sagt, okay, du hast einmal gesagt, der hat geweint bei der Präsentation.
No, but I mean, I think that's a very good point because I was already thinking about that because that is a crucial thing that can't be missed out because the funny thing is, of course, without a very good relationship with clients, with the work that we do, there would not be that work, of course, because you can have such a good creative or nice idea, but when you don't have a person that is on the same track or inspires you and you can inspire him or her, I mean, then that is crucial, of course. I mean, and that is often very much also by creatives, often very much forgotten that when they make something, they really think that a client understands that immediately. But I always think about, I mean, a client sometimes maybe 2 or 3 times a year comes to a presentation like that and gets to see work. The other days in the year they do totally different things. So it's also very important to take a client by the hand, really explain why you have had these thoughts and also spend a lot of other time with the client. I mean, you don't have to go to bed with them, but I mean it's good to explain them who you are and what you do, and also sometimes before a presentation show some other work that you have done, because often we forget that, or I mean, it's quite nice that they hear it from you, that they feel a little bit because they come to you also because they want something different. So then, but it's quite nice when they learn a little bit about you, about your own weird thing or funny thing or serious thing. So character, that is very important.
Ich glaube auch, dass diese Agentur-Kundenbeziehung, also diese gegenseitige Respekt und Wertschätzung wahnsinnig wichtig ist. Ich möchte an dieser Stelle auch noch an die Fachgruppe Werbung macht zurzeit eine Wertschätzungskampagne, wo es genau um das geht, wo wir auch zeigen wollen, dass die Beziehung zwischen unseren Kunden und den Agenturen eigentlich ein funktionierendes ist und öfters besser klappt, weil wir oftmals von den negativen Erlebnissen viel mehr hören als von diesen täglichen guten Erlebnissen. Es gibt auch da eine Website, die heißt gutewerbung.at, wo ich auch jeden vielleicht bitte, der vielleicht gute Beispiele davon hat, von Projekten, die gut gelaufen sind mit Kunden, die auch online zu stellen. Weil ich glaube, dass das auch der Branche viel besser, also gut tun würde, in einer Branche, die eigentlich von sehr viel Neid lebt und Missgunst eigentlich, ob das jetzt auf diesen Festen ist, Werbefesten oder sonst wo.
Are you born in Austria, by the way? Or?
Ja, ich bin in Österreich geboren, ja. Ja.
Okay.
Ja.
So both your parents are Austrian?
Nein, mein Vater kommt aus Syrien. Aber meine Mutter kommt, und das sieht man mir
thinking
wahrscheinlich am allermeisten an, kommt aus Ried-Wien-Kreis. Ja.
You must have some different blood.
Ja, ein bisschen, ja.
Maybe the audience, maybe some questions or...
Ja, kommen wir auch noch. Ich habe jetzt noch drei Dinge. Mich interessieren nämlich ich habe noch drei kurze Fragen, die mich wirklich als Begriffe, nur ganz kurze Antworten. Was du davon hältst? Marktforschung.
Ja, what is the question?
Marktforschung. Nein, was hältst du von Marktforschung? Ist das für euch etwas ganz Wichtiges im kreativen Prozess? Marktforschung, die Ergebnisse von Marktforschung?
Yeah, but when it's done sometimes we also are. We get paid to come up with an idea for our own market research to do it in a different way, because that's another thing. Like when people are in a room, they get paid 25 euros to come there to look at work. Yeah, anything they have never seen in their life or that is totally new, they will maybe not like that, because that's how people are. They when they see it on a board or. So it's quite nice to also explain people a little bit more how it's going to be or how, there, for instance, with that mobile phone company where we came up with a new name, the name was just Ben, B-E-N. It was just a name of a person, but Ben means also, when you say ik ben Ben, it means I am Ben. So it's a verb and a name. And that was tested heavily, and because it was like a big decision to and it was totally, went totally wrong. It was totally, nobody got it, nobody. So it was a disaster. Like, but then the client said, like, yeah, I'm still going to do it. I love it. So, and then within 2 months they had about 80% brand awareness. So it was like, yeah. So sometimes it's also, yeah, you need to. It doesn't say everything, of course.
Okay.
But
so
if you do it in the right way, then you can get sometimes information out of it, which you can make. That's the idea of it. A lot of creatives are very afraid of it, but it's bullshit. You should just take the good things of it when it's done in a good way.
Was hältst du von Influencern? Diese neuen, alles standardisiert, die schauen alle gleich aus, sind auf Instagram, verkaufen ihre Produkte, haben Followers, meistens. Was hältst du von denen?
A bit overrated, but I mean, I think some influencers are, but maybe there are too many. I mean, maybe everybody's an influencer now. Like, yeah. In the future, everybody will be famous for 15 minutes. That's what Andy Warhol said. Yeah.
Und die letzte Frage von mir, bevor wir vielleicht ins Publikum gehen, ist.
Gehen wir ins Publikum?
Wir können auch ins Publikum dann gehen, okay. Und mit dem Mikrofon.
Okay.
Eure Agentur ist in einer Kirche.
Ja.
Wie heizt ihr das Ding?
Oh, wie heizt es? Ja, das ist eine gute Frage. Ja, the first year it was pretty cold. Yeah, we had no money anymore because we bought the church. Yeah. So and then we put some wooden structures in it, which was quite cheap. But then there was no heating, so we were with gloves behind the computer. But then now we have this spiral system, which is a spiral, like a huge spiral with hot water, and there's a ventilator on top of it, so it pushes the heat down. Okay. Because it's pretty high in there.
Ja, eben, ja. Ja. So, das wäre jetzt von meiner Seite, glaube ich, haben wir die 60 Minuten fast genau eingehalten in unserem Gespräch. Okay. Wenn es jetzt Fragen gäbe, wir haben da unten jetzt, glaube ich, noch so Mikrofone, ich weiß nicht, ob der Ottmar und der Lukas irgendwo noch im Raum sind und uns mithelfen können, dann theoretisch die Fragen...
Nicht mit dem Bier fragen. Mit dem
Also gibt es Fragen aus dem Publikum? Also wir machen da so ganz kurze Fragerunde. Wenn nicht, dann bleibt es bei 60 Minutes, aber sonst... Ja, muss man einschalten unten, also das ist... Oh ja, muss man einschalten. Ja.
Lulu?
Ja.
Lulu. I have a question about how are you developing your company, because that's the thing we are struggling in the moment. We developed a lot for our clients and all that stuff, but in the moment we have a feeling we just stay on the same place we were 5 years ago, and so.
But how many people are you then?
We are on the small company, 6 now 7 people in starting next month, the 7th.
But you mean developing in
for ourselves, what we can do to just to get the feeling to develop. We still have to feel
maybe
we
it's
are
good
the same
idea.
agency we are 5 years ago when we found it. So that's
maybe what a good idea. We did that as well. You go on holiday with each other, like for a week. You know that does. If you come back, your company is changed, really, and it's going. Or not, but okay.
At least it's good for the people working.
Yeah, but I mean, often I can imagine that I don't know how many times you give a party or. No, but I mean, I can imagine. I see what you mean because you are busy with work, and then the development stays.
We don't have the time to really think about. The concept where we want to go, and so we don't have this thing for what will we do in the future. Yeah,
but that's what I mean. Maybe it's not such a good idea, such a bad idea that you go on holiday, you leave the computers, no email or whatever. You just say to your clients, we go on holiday for a week, and then you can work with each other on. It's nice, you know. We did that also. So you need to break away a little bit to see. You need to step out to get a different perspective, and then you know, think about ideas. Maybe yeah, like that's also what we did. Like, okay, maybe we want to start a shop and a gallery and things like that. So. You need a bit. You need if you're in the company, it doesn't work. I mean, you need time for that. Yeah. But I think a holiday is a good idea. I mean, maybe 3 days or so or whatever. But we did that as well. Like with 15, when we were with 15 or 20 people, we rented a boat and in Turkey, and for a whole week on the boat, no email. It's fantastic. Afterwards, we were really. No. It's 5 years ago. It's 5 years ago. Really.
Hello. First, I want to thank you for this very interesting presentation. I had to laugh so much.
That's important.
And I took some pictures to bring them home and to bring them in the company. I want to ask you, you do the extraordinary things. Really outstanding. But are there enough extraordinary decision makers out there who are going to decide for these campaigns? And the most important question is, are there enough customers? Because what I realize is that people really love to talk about extraordinary things.
Yeah.
But once it comes up to the decision, which thing I gonna buy? The one I'm used to, the one I feel secure with, the one it's familiar, or I am ready for the experiment. I am ready for something new, for something special. I realize that people rather tend to take the familiar thing, not only in politics. Austria is a really good example for. But also if it comes up to hotels, if it comes up to lifestyle, if it comes up to clothing, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, but I think like that, for instance, with hotels, I mean, the budget hotel is another thing, but we did that with Citizen M. I didn't show a lot of it, but we really made it from the beginning, so that it was like a combination of budget and luxury, affordable luxury. So there was like a new discipline, a new range in the hotels. But it has also a lot to do with, I mean, I can imagine when you compare this with one single execution, which is quite extraordinary, or maybe that is difficult, but if you have a very good story and the storytelling is good and the basis is good, then and you see that it works. I mean, with Citizen M, again, I haven't shown a lot of it, but it's a whole case where we worked for them 1 or 1.5 years before they opened, and the fundament of the whole idea was really, I mean, the idea to build a hotel like that was the idea of the founder. So he was sick of standing in a line in other hotels to get a check-in and waiting for the check-in. So he wanted to make a hotel where you didn't have to check in, where you just you checked in at home already, and when you come there, there's no staff, but all the luxury is in the rooms and stuff like that. So for us, when we got that brief, then you can come up with a story and the execution of several things. But a hotel or a museum or a school is perfect for that, because it has a lot of people coming in, and you can play with that. You can play with the tone of voice that you use, and that is also something which is nowadays more and more important. I mean, people are living with images, and they are so used to it, and we live with images. It's almost a renaissance of imagery, but the tone of voice and the text and how somebody speaks to you is sometimes forgotten, and that is a new thing that will be in the future quite important. Like how does this company talk to me? I mean, they have bombarded me with images, but how do they talk to me? And how? And they can be in small things. Can be on in an email. Can be on an answering phone, or a receptionist, or can be. All these little details add up to something, to a nice story then, and then it's much easier to sell that, of course, because it's all in the strategy, it's all in the fundament of and in the DNA of the company then. But I can imagine that seeing some of these that you think like, yeah, okay, but how God's name was it possible to sell this? But it's all like, it's also a bit of a massage, like slowly. You can't show them this end result immediately, but you need to slowly explain it, and I mean, a lot of the things are also very successful. I mean, the hotel, the Citizen M, started in Schiphol, and now it has more than 40 branches all over the world, and or the Brinker Hotel. Yeah, it was it's a very effective marketing campaign. And they're very happy with it, and they opened even a second worst hotel in Lisbon. Yeah, so serious. Yeah, they branched out to Portugal. So I mean, it's weird, but it's just like because it's successful and it works for them, then they do that.
Well, it's a new target group, I guess. You invented with this kind of advertising, this hotel.
No, but I mean, basically it comes also down to that, I mean, everybody out there, I mean, we are grown up with advertising. I mean, you know all the tricks, you know all the, I mean, and that is quite, I mean, of course, then there was the internet with all the garbage on there that is thrown at you, of course, and all the small garbage that's thrown at you. But most of all, mostly people know the systems. So when you surprise them, or you show them something cynical, or then or something funny, or something sincere, or very human, or when you hold a mirror in front of them, those are all emotions that are normally not used. Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks.
So, am Schluss muss ich euch jetzt, und ich habe eigentlich nicht gewusst, dass du die Bücher auch mit hast, ich wollte es unabhängig davon, dass du nämlich die Bücher mit hast, oben dann auch verkaufst, glaube ich, und signierst, dieses Buch tatsächlich ans Herz legen. Ich habe das gekauft.
I brought 40 books.
Ja, great. Also jeder
geht
take. Sich fast aus. Ja. Ich habe das im Zug gelesen, 30, 45 Minuten oder so.
Ja.
Habe ganz viele Dinge wiedergefunden, was ich mir selbst oft gedacht habe, dass ich schon wieder vergessen hatte als Grundsatz. Kann es euch wirklich ans Herz legen. Also wer das noch nicht hat, soll die Gelegenheit wirklich nutzen. Das oben jetzt im ersten Stock, wo wir jetzt dann den Abend dann so ein bisschen so ausklingen lassen.
Wir können etwas trinken da.
Okay, genau, trinken. Ja. Trinken ist dann da hinten die Bar. Also das wird jetzt ein bisschen so eine Leibesübung. Die Bar ist unten, die Toiletten sind hier unten. Aber oben im ersten Stock können wir uns unterhalten.
Wir können das Getränk
nehmen wir mit rauf und können uns unterhalten. Also ich lege euch das wirklich ans Herzen. Kauft es, wenn Sie das noch dazu signiert bekommt. Ich habe jetzt gemerkt, dass das im Deutschen ein anderer Verlag ist als auf Englisch. Danke dir fürs Kommen.
Ja, ich habe auch noch...
Und danke euch allen fürs Kommen. Ich hoffe, das Gespräch war soweit interessant, dass ihr beim nächsten Mal, wenn wir das wieder wiederholen, diese Gesprächsreihe mit dem nächsten Top-Kreativen wieder da seid. Danke fürs Kommen. Danke.
Ich halte es ganz kurz. Ich glaube, die Luft ist mehr als verbrauchte mittlerweile. Das Gute ist, es gibt oben ganz viel gute Luft in den wunderschönen Räumlichkeiten des Lothauses, wo wir eigentlich das Event machen wollten. Aber aufgrund des großen Andrangs mussten wir runter. Hier ist zwar auch schön. Oben ist es schöner. Schnappt euch ein Bier. Links hinten ist die Bar, rechts das Klo. Kurze Werbung in eigener Sache, nachdem wir eine Werbeveranstaltung sind. Wo ist der Flyer? Ganz zufällig machen wir das Vorortfestival, was genau heute in 6 Wochen stattfindet. Und das war doch schon. www.vorort-festival.com. Da gibt es die Infos, mehr wollt ihr nicht hören von mir.
Heute findet Eine Stunde mit statt. Das ist ein neues Eventformat der Fachgruppe Werbung Wien. Und wir wollen mit diesem Format in einer Stunde mit einem extraordinären Top-Kreativen der Welt ein Gespräch führen, was ihn zu diesem Top-Kreativen eigentlich ausmacht oder gemacht hat. Wie er das behält, was für schräge Typen das sind, wie sie so geworden sind, wie sie arbeiten, woran sie glauben, wie sie sich inspirieren lassen. Und im Endeffekt geht es darum, dass wir diese Leidenschaft der Kreativbranche ein bisschen als Funken wieder bei unseren Mitgliedern anbringen wollen.
Heute Erik Kessels, wie ist das Gespräch mit Ihnen?
Nein, es ist einfach eine außergewöhnliche Persönlichkeit. Das merkt man einfach, dass er hat keine Starallüren. Er ist wirklich ein Kreativer mit Leib und Seele. Er macht nicht nur Werbung, er macht tausende andere Dinge. Und so ein Gespräch zu führen ist natürlich dann relativ einfach, weil er ein Alleinunterhalter ist und man sich nur dazusetzen muss und ein bisschen das Gespräch mit ihm mitführen muss. Es ist eine großartige Erfahrung und ich kann mir da so ein bisschen so Jugendwünsche erfüllen mit dieser Gesprächsreihe.
Kann man irgendwie zusammenfassen? Was ist so die Zusammenfassung des Abends?
Na, ich glaube, die Zusammenfassung ist, dass man die eigenen Ideen glauben sollte. Dass man auch mal Nein sagen können muss, auch wenn es wirtschaftlich vielleicht eine harte Entscheidung ist. Dass man sich damit auch selbst treu bleibt. Und dass man dadurch auch die Freude an der Arbeit für sein Leben behält. Also für jemanden, der sagt, eigentlich Werbung ist scheiße und 25 Jahre Werbung macht, das geht nur dann, wenn man sich mit dieser Arbeit, die man halt macht, auch identifiziert. Und das ist bei Erik Kessels halt besonders der Fall. Und ich glaube auch, dass ich das jedem anderen nur empfehlen kann, dass wenn schon, sagen wir, das Honorar nicht optimal ist, dass dann zumindest die Identifikation mit der Arbeit am höchsten sein sollte.
Ja, was sagen Sie zur neuen Veranstaltungsreihe?
Ganz wunderbar, aber mich interessiert eigentlich hauptsächlich und das...
Und zu mir schauen.
Ah, zu dir, gut.
Was sagen Sie zu neuen?
Ja, toll, es gibt viel zu wenige, was Designer und Grafikdesign betrifft und Werbung vor allem. Und zur heutigen, ja, der Erik Kessels ist einfach fantastisch, es gehört einfach zu den kreativsten und ich meine, die scheißen sich überhaupt nicht. Ja. Und
Was haben Sie vielleicht vom heutigen Abend mitgenommen?
also mich interessiert hauptsächlich die Frage, das möchte ich ihn auch noch fragen, ob eines der Schwanzvergleichsbücher seiner ist. Bilder. Welcher ist seiner? Ich würde tippen auf das mit dem Gebiss, wo dieses Klappergebiss. Das ist unfassbar, was also die an Kreativität. Aber also ich habe auch die Frage nicht ganz verstanden, ob man Zielgruppen findet für die Kampagnen, die Sie machen. Weil erstens sind Sie erfolgreich und Sie machen, er zeigt ja hier nur die über-drüber Sachen auch bei solchen Kreativvorträgen. Aber wenn man zum Beispiel diese Kampagne, die er erwähnt hat, für die Versicherung überlegt, ist das total am Punkt, weil das interessiert jeden. Ich könnte da also einfach mit riesen Prozentzahlen zu arbeiten und das ist einfach am Punkt. Ja? Und das ist jetzt nicht so verrückt wie das Brinker Hotel, aber in gewisser Weise schon von der Denke her. Also die sind schon sehr basic auch und sie arbeiten ja auch mit Strategen. Also das ist jetzt nicht einfach, ich habe eine lustige Idee, sondern das ist immer profund, was sie machen.
Also man geht schon mit neuen Ideen, vielleicht Eindrücken nach Hause.
Naja, was ist immer wieder das Wichtigste ist, dass man Mut bewahrt und wieder Mut fasst und nicht dieser vorauseilende Gehorsam, dass man kann man den Kunden jetzt damit brüskieren oder traut er sich das? Und das ist natürlich bei denen sehr, sehr gescheit, weil die mit Strategen arbeiten und die geben dann wieder die Sicherheit, dass das auch eine Strategie hat und jetzt nicht nur, ich habe eine Idee, sondern ja, einfach, das stimmt einfach alles. Ja, ganz toll.
Ich habe neue Kampagnen gesehen, die alle ganz herzerfrischend waren. Ich kannte ja, also das Budget Hotel, das kennt ja jeder in der Branche. Und diese Sachen mit der Found Footage, also mit den vielen Penissen, hat mich sehr, sehr amüsiert.
Also schon, man nimmt schon Kreativität, Inspiration mit.
Ja, man nimmt vor allem Mut mit. Also manche Leute trauen sich eben etwas und manche Leute trauen sich nichts.
Ist eine neue Veranstaltungsserie gut?
Ja, natürlich ist es immer gut, wenn man ins Gespräch kommt und da schaut, dass man nicht isoliert allein unter den Kunden leidet, sondern dass man irgendwie einen Spirit hat und dass man eine Branche ist, die stark ist.
Naja, das ist eine gute Frage, weil der neue Abend war, also der heutige Abend war ja eigentlich für uns so eine Art Inspiration, dass man, wie erkläre ich das am besten? Also die Werber haben oft das Problem, dass sie selber finden, das wäre jetzt eine wirklich großartige Idee. Aber man muss schauen, dass der Kunde das auch großartig findet und auch die Idee versteht. Wir haben jetzt total kreative Ideen gesehen, die irgendwie für sich ziemlich besonders waren und nicht einfach. Und ich glaube, die Kunst wäre jetzt, und das hat er versucht ganz zum Schluss noch zu sagen, dass man den Kunden da auch auf die Reise mitnimmt und dem Kunden die Großartigkeit auch irgendwie zugänglich macht. Das wäre das, was ich mir jetzt mitgenommen habe.
Es ist eine neue Veranstaltungsserie. Gut, dass du das passiert?
Das finde ich sehr gut, vor allem was oft der Fall ist, dass die Werbekreativbranche ein bisschen im eigenen Saft kocht. Ja, weil man sieht immer dieselben Leute auf denselben selben Events. Und wenn jetzt zum Beispiel die Fachgruppe Werbung Leute von außen holt, aus anderen Ländern, aus anderen Kulturen und gerade die Kreativität ist so länderspezifisch. Wir haben zum Beispiel gesehen heute, dass die Niederländer haben einen sehr bösen Humor teilweise. Und das ist irrsinnig spannend und befruchtend, wenn man mal jemanden sieht, der ganz woanders herkommt und einen ganz anderen Zugang hat. Und das finde ich gut, dass die Wirtschaftskammer das macht, dass sie quasi einfach Input von außen holt. Und das war toll heute.